A pleasant evening and a warm welcome to National News live on Channel I. I'm Dhalanjali Ananda.
A very good evening to you. I am Dishan Virakon and we start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight. Lohan Ratwatar resigns from the State Minister portfolio of Prison Management and Rehabilitation of Prisoners. Further 120,000 doses of the Sputnik V vaccine are scheduled to arrive in the island next Monday. Several countries including Australia speed up vaccination programs by removing corona bans. Oil exploration in the Bay of Mannar and Kaveri begins. Ajit Nivad Cabral assumes duties as the governor of the central bank. The farmers commend the government for setting up a new guaranteed price for paddy. North and South Korea's test missiles.
Now for those and other stories in detail on your top story. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has accepted the letter submitted by Lohan Ratwatar expressing his decision to resign from the post of State Minister of Prison Management and Rehabilitation of Prisoners. Lohan Ratwatar, in his letter to the President, has stated that he is resigning from the post of State Minister on his own initiative with the objective of not putting into difficulty the government, amidst the reports being published over media regarding his ministry. A communique issued by the Presidential Media Division says that the President has accepted the letter of resignation of Lohan Ratwatar.
In the meantime, Minister Dr. Keheli Ramukwala says that Sri Lanka is to receive a further batch of 120,000 doses of the Sputnik V vaccine, which is to be administered as the second dose. It will be given to the people in the Kandy district who have received the first dose. 150,000 residents in the Kandy district have been inoculated. The minister has disclosed these facts participating in the evaluation discussions on storage and distribution of imported medicine. He added that there will not be any shortage in essential drugs. He has also pointed out the need to prepare a methodology to analyze the usage of essential medicine. Plans are underway to manufacture all necessary medicines in the island in the next 4 years. $24,349,601 vaccine doses have been given to the people under the COVID vaccination program. 13,602,365 have been given the first dose of a vaccine. 10,747,236 have been given the second dose of a vaccine. The first dose of the Moderna vaccine has been delivered to persons between the ages of 20 and 29 years in the Kandy district at 2 centers today. The Sri Lanka Army is taking the initiatives to continue the vaccination program at the Diyatha Uyana premises in Battaramulla. The Beruwala MOH office has conducted a vaccination program for those between 20 and 29 years in Valathara today. The health divisions request those between 20 and 29 years to get vaccinated. Facts relating to the vaccination of persons between the ages of 20 and 29 years has been discussed at a media briefing at the Health Promotion Bureau today. Programs continue to inoculate persons above the age of 60 years and persons with special needs centering on several districts. 1,639,710 doses have been inoculated in the past 7 days. 123,440 vaccine doses have been given yesterday. 1,742 COVID-19 patients were detected from the country today. 56,898 persons are currently receiving treatment. Meanwhile, 1,257 patients left the hospitals today following recovery. The total number of fully recovered patients is 427,254. The Director General of Health Services has reported on 132 COVID-19 related deaths today. 101 out of this number were those above the age of 60 years. The number of victims between the ages of 30 and 59 years is 28. 3 of the victims were under the age of 30 years. Minister Dr. Keheli Rambukwella has presided over a discussion over the recommencement of schools under health guidelines. Attention has been focused to reopen schools within the next 2 to 3 weeks. All school teachers and non-academic staff have been subjected to full vaccination. The minister added that those who are engaged in school transportation services will also be subjected to full inoculation without delay. Free rapid antigen test for residents within the Colombo Municipal Council unit has commenced at the Campbell Park today. The CMC and the mobile vehicles of the Ministry of Health have conducted tests in several other locations as well. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has expressed opinion regarding a statement made by the Public Health Inspectors Union on the possibility of the spread of the COVID disease due to the arrival of tourists. The Department of Immigration and Immigration says that its regional offices in Matara, Kandy, Kurunegala and Vavuniya will remain open for service recipients who require urgent services. The Battaramulla main office is also functioning.
The Deputy Director General of Public Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herat, says that few cases of black fungus infections are being reported in the country. He made these remarks in response to a question raised by a journalist in regard to black fungus infections in the country.
There have been reports of so-called black fungus. Persons infected with black fungus have been reported in several hospitals in Sri Lanka. Very few in number, but is compared to the other times, we have relatively a high number of patients reported, but not in hundreds or thousands, but only in 1 or 2 patients in a given hospital. But infection is a fungal infection that occurs especially in so-called immunocompromised persons whose immune system or the ability to fight with infections has been compromised or reduced due to various reasons, including the uncontrolled diabetes, severe renal disease, and those who have got organ transplant, especially renal transplant, who are getting certain drugs to suppress the immune response in your body are the more vulnerable people. And those who are having such immune deficiency are also vulnerable to get a COVID-19 infection and get into complications. And among these patients also, we have observed few black fungal infections, which has been sometimes because of the complications, few deaths also have been reported. But it is a treatable condition if the immunity of the person is in a good condition. However, what we need to the public is that anyone who is coming under the category that I mentioned earlier, that is anyone who is having severe diabetes, renal disease, or any other chronic disease, and especially those who are getting drugs which can compromise the immunity of the person, should be very careful about this infection. So those who are coming under that category should be a little bit careful about, and if they get any unusual signs and symptoms, black patches in the or severe dyspnea, shortness of breath or similar things, if they are coming under that category, you have to ask for medical opinion, get advice from the doctor to see whether they will decide whether it is black fungus or not. At the moment, the current practice is again anybody coming from Sri Lanka, especially Sri Lankans, have 3 options to come into Sri Lanka, where mediated by the Foreign Ministry, you can come and stay in a government-maintained quarantine center free of charge if you pre-arrange such arrangement before coming into Sri Lanka. And the other option is to come to stay in a hotel to which the patients are directed by the Sri Lanka Army. Passenger handling is done by Sri Lanka Army, but managed by the respective management of those hotels, where fixed rate of charges being charged, where the maximum of 7,500 for shared room for 2 people per person and 12,000 per person if single room is being used. So there cannot be any other charges or anything that could be charged for the room charges from the hotels. That is the ceiling that they have agreed upon. So therefore, then the other option is to go to level 1 hotels, where the passenger and the the hotel should come to an agreement about the hotel charges and the relevant other charges for the services they render. So therefore, we have to inform that there have been reports about any charging exuberant prices from hotels. That cannot happen without your volition, where if the customer is agreeing to pay certain things, that is for the level 1 hotels, it is up to them. But if they are coming to go to stay in a hotel where the Sri Lanka Army has identified to accommodate these passengers, there cannot be any excess charges other than that fixed charge that they are getting. So that need to be emphasized.
Now on the global update of the pandemic, a curfew imposed on more than 2 million people in the 12 Sydney suburbs hardest hit by the spread of the coronavirus Delta variant will end tonight, authorities said, stopping short of easing more lockdowns restrictions. Officials said first dose COVID-19 vaccination levels have reached 80% of the New South Wales adult population, while the dual dose rate in Sydney's home state stands at 48% now. The national average of complete vaccination stands at 43%, yet below 70% level that will trigger the easing of other cabs first imposed 3 months ago. Authorities expect to achieve the 70% rate around middle of next month and plan to relax more restrictions once it has climbed 80%. Despite recent Delta outbreaks, Australia's coronavirus numbers remain low compared with many other countries, with some 78,600 cases and 1,116 deaths. New South Wales, the epicenter of Australia's Delta outbreak, reported a slight rise in new infections to 1,259, the majority in Sydney from 1,127 yesterday, and 12 deaths. Australia is struggling to quell a third wave of infections that has hit its two largest cities, Sydney and Melbourne, and the capital Canberra, forcing nearly half of the country's 25 million people into strict stay-at-home restrictions. The Dutch government announced easing of COVID-19 restrictions yesterday and will introduce a Corona Pass showing proof of vaccination. The Corona Pass will be required for people aged 13 and up to enter venues including restaurants, cinemas, museums, concerts and festivals, both indoors and outdoors. The measures that remain will be a mask requirement for public transportation and schools and a recommendation that people work from home when possible. More than 70% of the Dutch population, or 12.6 million people, have received at least one COVID-19 vaccination, while 65% are fully vaccinated, according to the official data. New infections have fallen to around 2,000 per day in the Netherlands, while roughly 450 COVID-19 patients are receiving treatment in hospital. Indonesian Health Minister yesterday said the country will consider reopening its border to the world after at least 70% of its targeted population received first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. The target may reach as early as November, according to the minister, and the country is expected to be relaxed by March 2020. His comment came as Indonesian remote island of Bali started to ease COVID-19 social restrictions, with the governments beginning to formulate plans to allow foreign travel to resume. Indonesia is planning to vaccinate at least 208 million people from 12-year-old and above. Over 4 million COVID-19 cases were confirmed in Indonesia, making it one of the worst-hit Asian countries by the pandemic. But cases in the biggest Southeast Asian nation of 270 million people have declined significantly in the past month after peaking mid-July.
Now, a discussion between Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Sri Lankan nationals living in Italy has taken place in Bologna yesterday. Groups which represent different cities in Italy took part in this meeting. The Sri Lankan representatives have extended their gratitude to the Prime Minister for allowing them the opportunity to meet him even under the COVID-19 pandemic. It has also been recalled at the meeting on the facilities being provided to Sri Lankans in Italy as a result of the close bonds of friendship created during the period the Prime Minister was functioning as the President of the country. The representative have also stated that the far-sighted decision taken by the present Prime Minister during his tenure as President to provide a Sri Lanka Consular General Office to the city of Milan. They added that this decision has provided them immense relief. The representative said that it took them more than 2 days to go to the consulate in Rome to get their requirements fulfilled. He further stated that Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa deserves all the respect and gratitude for the setting up of a Sri Lankan consulate office in Milan. He further said that no Sri Lankan is able to act against the Prime Minister without their conscience.
විරුද්ධව නැගිටින්න බෑ. හිතපොපොත් තියෙන ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකෙක්ට. අද අපි උස්ම ගන්නේ ඔබතුමා නිසා.
Minister Professor G.L. Piri said that around 2 million Sri Lankan expatriates are engaged in employment in many countries in the world. The minister added that all Sri Lankans must think to appear on behalf of the country. He also said that the revenue earned by the overseas workers would enable to bring the country out of the present situation. If these expatriate workers remit a portion of their earnings, it would tremendously strengthen the economy of the motherland. The representatives have requested the Prime Minister to provide an opportunity for those who return to the motherland after completing a service period of 20 years in Italy to receive continuously their pensions. The Prime Minister has instructed Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Piri to conduct discussions regarding the proposal. The representative said that there is a group which is being supported through NGO funds. She also said that there are many who have arrived from Switzerland and Germany. The representative also said that they welcome the Prime Minister as the father of the nation of their times. She added that they recognize Prime Minister as the leader who had liberated the country. The representative further said that they will continue to extend their cooperation to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa is scheduled to engage in several diplomatic meetings in the next few days. Now, in more stories here at home, Ajit Nivard Cabral has assumed duties as the new governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka today. He is the 16th governor of the bank. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has handed over the letter of appointment to Ajit Nivard Cabral at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The newly appointed governor, who is a chartered accountant, has also functioned as a state minister and ministry secretary. He has held the post of Central Bank governor for 9 years on a previous occasion as well. President Secretary P.B. Jayasundara has also attended the event to hand over the letter of appointment. A simple ceremony has been organized at the Central Bank premises this evening to welcome the new governor.
It's not easy to manage this balance, because when you do particular initiative on one side, it can lead to another difficulty from another side. So that is why we got to make sure that we have the necessary hands-on in all these matters in order to ensure that we can deliver the right results as far as the country is concerned. That is the challenge for the central bank, and that's not easy. It means that we got to be conscious of all the outcomes that generally arise when you take certain policy measures. And policy measures must be taken. There is no shortcut. Sometimes there are tough policy measures to be taken. When you take certain policy measures, it always has repercussions from another side. And sometimes if you don't take those policy measures, you may meander along and there won't be any further changes that we could make that could put the situation right in the longer term. Central Bank has a responsibility to take certain policy measures, and when those policy measures are introduced as well as implemented, there may be certain challenges that would be also forthcoming. We will have to also take steps to deal with those challenges as well. So I know all of you have the necessary abilities, the technical knowledge, as well as the foresight, as well as understanding of the subject, which can give us the information as well as the results that could take place when you take measures of that nature. But we have got to take those steps. If there are any steps that are needed to be taken, just like when we took certain measures during the period 2006 to 2014, we would be taking those steps. We would need to lead the economy in these measures. The central bank is the instrument that society has created to provide that leadership to the economy. That has to be provided by this institution. So that means we got to always be able to think one step ahead, 2 steps ahead, sometimes 3 steps ahead, so that we will know what needs to be done at what time, and that will be the responsibility of those who are at the central bank when we are discharging our duties. I think we would, from now onwards, take the lead in providing guidance to markets as well as to the economy of the country. We've got to take that step clearly, sometimes boldly, in order to ensure that the markets could also be able to read the signs that the central bank is producing, so that they would need to use that as the guidance, particularly in turbulent times like what we are having today. This is not the time to abrogate our own leadership role. So we would have to take that leadership role, and I would be keen to listen to you, to hear from you, what thoughts you have, what ideas we have.
The farmers expressed their appreciation to the government for fixing the guaranteed price of 55 rupees for a kilo of Nadu paddy. At the last meeting of the cabinet ministers, approval has been granted to increase the guaranteed price from 50 to 55 rupees. During the previous regime, farmers were paid only 38 rupees for a kilo of paddy. The Consumer Affairs Authority has sealed off paddy depots, which had stockpiled paddy stocks without permission. Paddy mill owners have expressed their willingness to sell the unauthorized stocks of Nadu paddy for 55 rupees. Farmers in the Uhana Divisional Secretariat Division have sold their paddy harvest to the Fungus depot today. District Secretary Ampara DLM Bandaranaike was also present to inspect the sales. Farmers in the Polonnaru district have also sold paddy for 55 rupees. It has been pointed out that paddy mill owners have maximized their profits by deceiving the farmers to sell their produce at an extremely low price. The farmers say that fixing of a maximum price for paddy by the government has granted justice to the farmers.
Minister Nama Rajapaksa says that the necessary environment will have to be created jointly by the state and private sector to enhance the confidence on the future of the children of the country. He made these remarks participating in a ceremony at the Ministry of Education today. This event has been conducted in connection with the provision of computers and internet connections to children in child development centers. On this occasion, a symbolical handing over of 700 computers and internet connections valued at 21 million rupees to the Department of Child Protection Services has taken place. The items have been provided through the coordination of Managing Director of the Star Lanka Shipping Company, Captain A. Benaji, and through funds of many private institutions including Dialogue Asiata Company. Education Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, State Ministers Piyal Nishantha and Susil Premajayantha and Parliamentarian Sagara Karyavasam have also participated in the event.
A program titled O2 Life for the supply of oxygen to hospitals island-wide has commenced through the intervention of the International Lions Club. A media briefing to educate on the program was held at the Department of Government Information today. President's Counsel Singha Jagat Vikramanayaka said that currently there are 191 hospitals treating the COVID-19 disease. All 7,870 beds in COVID wards will be turned into beds with oxygen supply facilities. Patient inspection equipment will also be provided. In addition, oxygen manifold cylinders will be provided for 109 hospitals.
Now, a special Pinkama was organized to recite 108 times the sacred and highly effective Ratana Sutra in Los Angeles City in the United States on Sunday, the 19th of this month. Chief incumbent of the Dharma Vijay Buddhist Vihara in Los Angeles, Agga Mahapandita, Venerable Dr. Valpola Piyananda Thero says that the objective of the recitation is to extend wishes of good health and security for all world citizens through the dispelling of the worldwide corona pandemic. Agga Mahapandita Venerable Dr. Valpola Piyananda Thero says that bhikkhus of the Los Angeles Dharma Vijay Buddhist Vihara along with the bhikkhus of other Buddhist temples in LA will engage in reciting the sacred sutra without a break for 108 times from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on this day. The Venerable Thero added that besides extending best wishes for the world community, special emphasis will also be made to extend best wishes to all those engaged in the medical profession in Sri Lanka, the three armed forces and the police as well as the government headed by the President.
An aerial oil exploration operation over Bay of Mannar and Kaveri in Sri Lanka got underway today. Data evaluation through aerial gravitational and magnetic fields targeting shallow sea areas in the Bay of Mannar and Kaveri is being conducted by Belgia Space Private Company. The project is being conducted by the Petroleum Resources Development Secretariat of the Ministry of Power. Minister Uday Gammanpilla has inspected the aircraft engaged in the exploration program. State Minister D.V. Chanaka was among the officials who have attended the occasion.
Now, Sri Lanka's attention has been focused in obtaining the assistance of the Kenyan government for the development of the tourism industry and wildlife conservation in Sri Lanka. It has been pointed out that Kenya has secured a prominent position on the international scale in these fields. This was disclosed upon discussion between Minister of Wildlife and Forest Conservation C.B. Ratnayaka and Minister of Wildlife Conservation and Tourism in the Kenyan Republic Najib Balala in Nairobi City, Kenya yesterday. It has also been agreed to provide complete training to Sri Lankan wildlife conservation officials in Kenya on the wildlife tourism industry. A wildlife conservation training school is also scheduled to be commenced in Sri Lanka. Attention has also been focused at the talks on the opening of a fully fledged wildlife treatment hospital in the country. The Ministry of Wildlife and Forest Conservation further says that discussions have also been centered upon the provision of support to set up new zoological gardens and also to exchange animals. Well, that's it for local news. Stay tuned for news overseas.
Our lives, our responsibility. Let us help to eliminate dengue.
Welcome back. On foreign news, North Korea and South Korea have tested ballistic missiles hours apart from each other, highlighting an arms race on the peninsula as nuclear talks with the North remain stalled. North Korea has fired 2 ballistic missiles across the country's east coast, its first test with such missiles in 6 months and a fresh breach of United Nations resolutions.
North Korea fired 2 ballistic missiles on Wednesday morning, just days after Pyongyang's previous launch. According to the South's military, the unidentified warheads landed in the sea to the east of the Korean peninsula. In a statement, the U.S. military's Indo-Pacific Command said the missile launch posed no immediate threat to U.S. personnel or allies. Over the weekend, Pyongyang carried out what it said were successful tests of a long-range cruise missile, a weapon with probable nuclear capabilities. North Korea's latest round of missiles came as nuclear envoys of South Korea, Japan and the United States were meeting in Tokyo this week. It drew anger from Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga.
The launch of a possible ballistic missile threatens the peace and security of our country and the region and is outrageous.
The latest launch on Wednesday came just as China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi was in Seoul to discuss North Korea's earlier cruise missile test and the stalled denuclearization talks between Washington and Pyongyang. South Korean President Moon Jae-in had reportedly asked for China's help to restart dialogue with the North, which has been unresponsive to offers from the South or the US to talk or engage in humanitarian aid. Wang told reporters that not only North Korea but all parties should work in ways to resume dialogue and promote peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. The 2 ballistic missile tests are North Korea's first since March this year. Negotiations with former US President Donald Trump to urge Kim Jong-un to dismantle his nuclear arsenal in return for US sanctions relief have stalled since 2019.
Welcome back. Now in sports, one of the most superior fast bowlers produced by Sri Lanka, Lasith Malinga, bid farewell to international T20 cricket yesterday. 38-year-old Lasith Malinga, in a special statement over the internet, said that he will appear no more in the international cricket field where he had stayed for 17 years.
Today is very special day for me because I want to thank each and everyone whoever support me and bless me throughout my T20 journey. Today I decide I want to give 100% rest for my T20 bowling shoes. That's why I want to thank Sri Lankan Cricket Board and my team members because when I play with you all, I got many experience to my cricketing journey. That's why I want to share all my experience in future.
What's where the ball in his to counteract?
Lasith Malinga had left international test cricket in 2010. He had captured 338 wickets in 226 one-day international fixtures. Malinga had left the one-day international cricket after the one-day match against Bangladesh played on the 26th of July 2019. Malinga had represented his first T20 international appearance for Sri Lanka in 2006. He had represented Sri Lanka for the last time in a T20 fixture in March of 2020. Thereafter, he lost his position in the national team. Malinga had taken 107 wickets representing Sri Lanka in 84 T20 matches. He is the highest wicket taker in T20 matches in Sri Lanka. He is also the first bowler in the world to capture 100 wickets in T20 international matches. In the year 2014, Sri Lanka had won the T20 World Cup trophy under the captaincy of Lasith Malinga. Malinga has recorded in 2 instances of capturing 4 wickets at a stretch in international cricket. He is also the only bowler to record 2 hat-tricks in a World Cup cricket. He is also the only bowler to record 3 hat-tricks in one-day matches. Malinga had taken 2 hat-tricks in T20 matches.
Brilliant change of pace. It's been chipped up. There's a man underneath it. Cries of catch it. Callis is standing. Breaks. Gone. 4 and 4. Oh, this must be a shout. Oh, right through. The bat was ages late. Bang! It's another torpedo. Malinga. Oh, it's bowled him straight through. And there it is, fallen straight, and it's out. First ball. Ball, and he's got it. Malinga has done it. Unbelievable. That's 3 international hat-tricks.
Yeah, slower delivery does the trick. Well, he's done it. Oh, looks close, gone. He's done it.
New ball's crucial. If we can obviously break the back of it.
Oh, sorry, mate. Breaking on the pad, they're asking the question. Oh, man! He's got a hat-trick. Lasith Malinga, you beauty. You. Dana struck on the pad, they're asking the question. 4 in 4.
Lasith Malinga had played 122 matches in the Indian Premier League. He was a member of the Mumbai Indians team and captured 170 wickets. Malinga was the highest wicket taker in Indian Premier League history. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Sports Minister Nama Rajapaksa have extended their best wishes to Lasith Malinga on his retirement from T20 cricket. Many cricketers in the international cricket field, including former players and captains of the Sri Lankan cricket team, have also extended their best wishes to Lasith Malinga. Lasith Malinga, known by the term the Yorker King, will never be seen by all sports fans in the international cricket field once again. Well, that's a wrap of tonight's primetime news bulletin here at Rupavahini ChannelEye, and until we meet again next time, do take care, stay safe and good night.
Good night.